Well, I suppose I'd best introduce myself. I'm Bernd Würsig, a marine mammalogist in my 70s years, and uh, and I have been working with marine mammals since 1972, and I'm speaking here in 2023. Wow, it's been a wonderful ride, and thank you to so many of you who might see this for that ride, students and mentors and colleagues alike. The first question is, why did you choose to become a marine mammalogist? I'm pretty sure I did that as a youngish child, about 8 or 10 years old, as a refugee in Ohio, USA, from Schlesien, from Silesia, where the borders were changed after the war, and we, as refugees, were thrown out of that area. But as a child in Ohio, my parents got a particular book and record uh, uh, organization from Germany in order to keep our German language and culture alive a little bit. And Hans and Lotte Haas, Hass, look that up at some point, had a wonderful series of books and papers and a movie series in the UK called The Adventures of Hans and Lotte Haas, something like that. And I just became fascinated by those German scientists and popularizers who talked about the amazing wonders of the marine environment. And this wasn't marine mammals particularly, but just the marine environment. And the second strong influence before the scientific influences was John Cunningham Lilly, who in the 1960s, early 1960s, wrote a series of books on the purported intelligence of dolphins as being more intelligent than humans, et cetera, et cetera. And later on, I realized that not all of this was true, and got a better grounding. But indeed, John C. Lilly, The Mind of the Dolphins, Man and Dolphin, and other books, do look them up, imbued me with this idea that it was exciting to study marine mammals. And indeed, I was only in my early teens at that time. When I think about a love for biology, I think about the amazing, what I call shoulders that I have relied on of mentors that I knew personally and that I knew only from reading, and there have been many of those amazing people, amazing scientists and conservation biologists to rely on. And one of those was Roger Payne, a wonderful scientist who helped us with field work, my wife Melanie and I, with field work in Argentina, and helped us to get started. And Charlie Walcott, my direct PhD supervisor, who made all of that possible. He has an amazing concept of science and what can be done in science. And before then, how did you get your start? Before then, the major start was probably my papa, back when I was a young kid, and I don't remember all the details. And my brothers say that they don't remember these details as well, but that's fine. We were out in the woods in Stettin, Germany, in the West. Once my parents had come from, and my oldest brother had come from Silesia, from the East, and one of us one of us brothers, I don't remember who it was, sort of absent-mindedly and being a kid, broke off a major limb of a tree, and I don't remember what tree it was either. And my father gently scolded us and walked us back home and got a penknife and some string and showed us how to put that limb back together again, to graft it together so that it would grow. And then every year we went back, before we left for Ohio, we went back to that limb to see how it had grown and how the tree had survived despite that childish accident or misdeed. And that sort of imbued, I think, in me, as I think about it, a love for nature, an appreciation for life. And that includes not just marine mammals, but includes all other animals, and certainly includes plants. Not many. I was gifted with kindness by so many of those shoulders that I was able to rely on. Yeah, I was immature in my 20s as a young grad student and made some horrible mistakes. We don't need to get into them here. Try not to make those mistakes. But several of my mentors, all of my mentors, gave me a pass and supported me anyway, psychologically, financially, time-wise, intellectually. So no challenges really, nothing there except the challenge of overcoming myself and becoming a bit more mature as time has gone on. Maybe a bit more mature. I think we need to be multidisciplinary, and we are becoming that ever more. You know, back in the 1980s and 1990s, we researchers in marine mammal biology were sort of constantly apologizing for the state of our science, which was not up to the state of so much of other marine mammal science, especially with fisheries biology, especially in ichthyology, but also other fields, and so much of other science in general. We were pretty far back. It's changed. We are now right in, I believe, the mainstream of science and multidisciplinary, using amazingly modern tools such as UAVs, drones, and sophisticated hydrophone sound collection and sophisticated other techniques. For heaven's sake, I just read a wonderful paper by several fine colleagues on not just the detection of whales, of northern right whales in this case, from space, from satellite imagery in space, but also the recognition of individuals from space, which is absolutely incredibly wonderful. So we realize that this field of science is not only multidisciplinary, it is also, and I'd like to point this out, multicultural. It's no longer just, well, it's certainly no longer just white old men like me. It has a lot of white women, young and old, and it has a lot of non-white men and women and folks from all kinds of walks of life, multidisciplinary, multicultural, multisexual. It is absolutely wonderful what we are experiencing right now, not just in science in general, but here specifically for marine mammal biology. And that's not just a sort of an empty talk. It's a deep feeling of appreciation that we are that. I just co-edited a book that she was perfectly responsible for of one of my former PhD students, Mridula Srinivasan. And she has just done an amazing job, not just in science, not just in sort of a political connection with the U.S. government, but in conservation biology and in communication of information to so many people all around the world. There are many more such examples. I have wonderful colleagues from South Africa, from Europe, from indeed India, and so many from Asia, where we continue to do some work with the very beleaguered cetaceans in the Chinese and other cultures. So, okay, back to the question, what do you think are the most important skills for marine mammal biologists today? I think large scale, multidisciplinary, but also importantly, multiculturally. Of course, I don't have any real answers, but there is one amazing positive development, and that is that we are using more mechanical and electronic devices for data gathering. And that includes not just the AUVs, not just drones, but also the sophisticated imagery, the sophisticated sound collection devices, and overall large-scale data gathering that is multidisciplinary. So that's a very positive development. Yeah. There's a negative side, a bit of a negative side to that I want to caution about, and that is so many of youngsters, of people starting out in the field, indeed are enamored, as they should be, of modern mechanical and electronic devices and capabilities, but at times then forget that it is important to know the animals, to see the animals, to be out in nature with them. That negative part, as many modern biologists, some modern biologists, I think it's many, being a bit more remote from their animals, from knowledge of the individual animals. I can give an example. There's been a lot written about underwater sound and about acoustics in baleen whales, for example, and it's excellent. It's wonderful stuff. But many of those bioacousticians and behaviorists who are studying those animals and their sounds have not actually seen their animals, or have seen them only briefly, have not seen them attempting to mate, and do not know the individuals themselves. So they're a bit more removed from the animals, and that is a bit of a negative, perhaps. Perhaps it's just an old guy talking, that we should try to overcome. We need to embrace the new and want to embrace the new and capabilities, and at the same time realize that we also want to know about the individuals, their individuality, the social structure, not only social structure, but behaviors and individuality of behaviors relative to them. Thanks.